film is from China, Hong Kong, and Macau. And the newest statistic is that 1 in 4 marriages in Taiwan are with a foreign spouse. So 1 in every 4 marriages in Taiwan now. Then 1 in 7 births in Taiwan are from this kind of cross-border marriage. So those are very significant demographic numbers if you think about them. So these, so the reasons why there are these needs for foreign spouses, especially foreign wives for the Taiwanese male, is that there's this changing expectations from the female perspective in Taiwan. They're looking for the 3 highs. I mean, not just in Taiwan, Japan, in developed countries, the high social status, the high educational level, the high incomes. So when they don't get that, they don't want to marry to any farmers or blue-collar workers. So it's really hard for those who are in the lower socioeconomic strata to kind of find a wife or a suitable spouse. So they have to, I mean, at least in Taiwan, so they have to go out of their way, across country, to find someone, maybe in Southeast Asian countries or in China, mostly from the rural areas. Yeah, and there is that discrepancy between the male and female cohorts in marriage age population. So, these spouses, they come, typically we call them the foreign brides in Taiwan. They have sometimes economic motivations, as has been kind of touched upon already. And then on the Taiwanese side though, the husband typically will expect these things from their foreign spouse, to take care of their parents, to manage their household, and to, most important probably, to give them the offspring. So even when those spouses are coming in and fulfill all these society needs and doing all these kind of services, quote unquote, they also have their challenges, a little bit different from the migrant caregivers. So of course they first face up with the adjustment issue of their language barriers, cultural differences. Then there is that tension in their marriage where, because the 2 sides have different kind of expectations and motivations in this marriage, so sometimes it can be challenging. And especially when they start to have kids, these children from the cross-border marriages, they are termed the new hair of Taiwan. So sometimes the media portray them as not adequate to follow up with the educational curriculums because, of course, their mother tongue is not Mandarin Chinese sometimes. So at least pose some challenges at the beginning age. But yeah, so my research is kind of a qualitative kind of review of this issue. So then I'll just give you some concluding remarks here. This is my position basically. So as these women mostly, migrant domestic caregivers and immigrant spouses, they come to Taiwan, they provide this maintenance of the household structure, they provide the sustaining of even the gender role sometimes. They are not well treated, and there's a lot of challenges for them from different areas, from the public in general, the sentiment of anti-foreigners and whatnot, and there's oppression from their employer sometimes, even the recruiting company, or you get the idea, and the regulations. So here are my recommendations. I kind of put them in order of implementable possibilities. So the first one is to establish support mechanisms. Although it sounds kind of not as hard as some other ones I'm going to give, but it's actually not that easy because you want that language translation there, and that can sometimes only be given in urban areas, and even just in English, not in any of the Southeast Asian countries' languages. So it's challenging in some respects. And the second one is more kind of a talk, and it's kind of hard to do. remove that sentiment of xenophobia, and I guess these are good to just say them, but I don't know how actually because it's so inherently in the society that sometimes it can be hard to change. And the third one is just the reverse side of the second one, or the more positive, active side, where you establish the value of multicultural society. Maybe start with a slogan that foreigners are also citizens. They're not just disposable workers. They're not just, foreign brides. And take out that kind of negative connotations when you talk about them. Then, there is also the possibility of doing some cultural activities to get the local people to know more about this different cultures from abroad, supporting their society. So, all right, thank you. I guess that's all I have to say. Any questions or comments?
That's actually my just for my sorry. Okay, thank you for a very interesting presentation. Okay, I open the floor. Any questions?
So there are no laws that support the migrant workers.
There are laws. There are laws restricting them. Yeah.
Because I think that in order for the society to actually kind of appreciate them, then if the legal system supports them, then it's easier for the people to.
Yeah. In fact, I couldn't believe this because they just come out with this new population policy white paper in Taiwan, like last year or the year before. They are trying to actually make it more stringent for the the naturalization process. I mean, before you can go from being an immigrant to a resident, then you can become a citizen. Now they're splitting that resident period into a temporary resident, a permanent resident, to go through more stages. So that's harder for the spouses now. But the workers, it's totally another case. They just have no any kind of, I don't know how to say, sentiment towards them. I mean, there are of course NGOs pushing it, lobbyists trying to get the lawmakers to change. So we'll see when they're going to really put in. I mean, there are slogans in the population policy white paper where it says, "Oh, we want a multicultural society." But then, what does that really mean when they put it on paper?
Do both major political parties, I mean, now that Chen Shui-bian is out, is the Mano administration, do they continue that, or is there a shift afoot?
Yeah, that one I have to look into because, although, okay, so now the population of these groups, they are becoming more and more significant. They are more than 1 to 2%, and it's even more than Aboriginal Taiwanese. So, but even though that's the case, these issues are not surfaced, in the public awareness. So the public officials, they don't talk about these, or if they do, it's in a smaller crowd. So I would say, because the general public sentiment is still relatively negative toward, the immigrants. There's a survey saying that 40% of the Taiwanese people they think that the migrant spouse is going to negatively affect the Taiwanese society. And then there's another 40% or so people saying that, the new hair of Taiwan, they are going to pollute or somehow, affect the population quality. So, I mean, it's kind of hard for the officials to go against this kind of public sentiment to say, oh, we are all for the foreign workers now. So it's still challenging, I think, even though.
Thank you for the presentation. I was wondering that in your conclusion, you mentioned about xenophobic sentiments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm from Taiwan, and based on my experience, I feel actually this kind of sentiments is